Paul Ohodnicki is a material scientist at NETL whose focused research involves materials and sensors as well as power electronics. Paul is a live wire. He's earned several recent recognitions for the research he does at the Pittsburgh lab and was also named a recipient of the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers in 2016. But let's back up a bit. Paul started out like many of you in a classroom like thousands of others across the country, his in the Woodland Hills School District in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Even back then, Paul knew he wanted a career dealing with STEM education, that's science, technology, engineering, and math.
My interest in science and engineering was driven largely by a high school physics class that I took. So Professor Lachek was my professor at the time, and he just got me extremely interested in it. I liked how physics described the world around me, and ever since that time I've been going in that direction with my life.
His high school teacher wasn't the first person to help him better understand his love for STEM education.
I think at every juncture in life there have been critical people who've really had an influence, just inspired a passion for the area, the technologies and the areas of research that really drove me, and it was because they, through their coursework as well as their mentoring, they helped me to understand my own interests and to point me in a direction that led me to where I am.
Paul's other mentors came at the University of Pittsburgh, where he studied in the engineering physics program, and at Carnegie Mellon, where he earned a doctorate in material science and engineering. Paul chose to go to Pitt because he had a scholarship that covered all his costs.
I think you just keep working hard. So these things you can never predict and you can never be sure about. But the only thing you do have control over is to work hard, do your best, find something that you're passionate about, go after it as hard as you can, and to love what you're doing. And those types of things like scholarships, they tend to follow.
Paul says having people to look up to and show him the ropes helped him get to where he is today. He says to keep an eye out for ways you can interact with scientists and engineers in your own life. Maybe it's a parent, a teacher, or even a community member at an event. In Paul's work at NETL, he creates and measures various types of materials to better understand how they'll interact in the environment. These materials may be as thin as 100 nanometers. Take a look at a strand of hair on your head, then imagine something even thinner.
We are working on materials as well as devices that would perform things such as being able to monitor the electricity system and make it more reliable, being able to detect things before they go wrong to keep the lights on and prevent failures from happening. We're also doing things to make power plants more efficient and more environmentally friendly.
The way Paul keeps his findings a success is by preparing ahead of time. He says, research your research.
The first thing is to make sure you're going after a question that hasn't already been answered. And I think one of the best pieces of advice that I got early in my career is that a week in the library can save you 3 months in the lab. And that's something that I think is very true. So first step is do your homework, read through the literature, make sure you know what other people have done, find what's new and find what matters, and then spend your time on that. So that's step one. Step two is when you find it and you know this is an important problem to tackle, you just have to keep working hard.
Paul gets to serve as a mentor to other people these days by helping them discover the future of technology coming out of NETL.
My favorite part of my job is being able to watch the colleagues that I work with bring things from early ideas, things that we discussed, whether it's in my office or in the lab or at lunch, and to see them actually come to fruition. The ultimate goal is to really see some of these things transition out into the real world and have an impact there.
Paul's success continues to grow, and even his high school has taken notice. The school invited Paul to come back to his alma mater and give the commencement speech to the 2018 graduates of Woodland Hills High School.
Definitely a cool thing to go back to your high school and give a commencement speech. I mean, not many people have the chance. One of the most interesting and exciting opportunities of my life so far.
Who knows, maybe one day you'll be walking down the same halls you walked through to get to your science class, heading off to tell your story to the next generation of STEM superstars. Paul says you can get there by working hard and loving what you do. So, what will you do?